And so we're sitting there, and Stephen Furtick is going to preach at the conference. Now, I had like heard Stephen Furtick, but I was not a Furtick fanboy.
Yeah.
I've listened
and this is years ago. So it's like when he's kind of newly known.
And so he's coming out to preach on like the conference stage of like charismatic pastors.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so he comes out at the top and they introduce him. And Ed Young, the pastor of the church, he says, "So Stephen, how old are you now?" And he says, "I'm 33. And this guy that I'm sitting next to, he leans over and he goes, "How old are you?" "Oh, I'm 30. And he says, "Better hurry up." And I remember being like washed with insecurity because I'm like, dude, first I work for you. So I'm still not even the guy. And then like, this guy's preaching at this conference and has like 10,000 people in his church. And I'm like crapping my pants to preach in front of 200 teenagers.
Right.
You know, like, and I just was sit there washed with insecurity. You know what it did a little bit is it made me not even like Stephen Furtick. It wasn't even Furtick's fault.
Right.
I was just like so grossed out with it. And I remember sitting there the whole message just like, dude, I'm so far behind. Because I knew in me, I'm called to something great. And it started something ugly in me. But it's because I didn't realize the venom on my shoulder.
What's up, everybody?
Whoa, yeah.
We're excited because we just ate lunch and we had a little caffeine, I think, maybe, or
Just
I
a
did
tad,
anyway.
just a twinge of a little caffeine.
And so, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the Tug of More.
Guys, we're thrilled that you're here. It's just a conversation between two pals.
Two friends, two old buddies that are, here's where we are today, and here's where we want to be. And there's a tension and a fight and a tug to get there. And so then we tug of more
and yeah,
rope. I can't talk.
And so we're always jumping into new ideas or
New
topics.
concepts.
We're answering questions that
That's
people
right.
have.
Yes.
And so thanks for being here. If you haven't subscribed,
Do it.
Subscribe,
What are you
follow,
doing?
comment.
Yep.
Whatever.
Like, share, tag.
Something new that we've started that we're thrilled about. It's been going really good.
Yep.
Is called Tomming Around Town.
That's right.
It's just where people are taking a picture of where they're listening to the Tug of More.
Let's just tell the truth.
And you guys are blowing it up.
Y'all are killing it.
Oh, but no, that's going to be embarrassing.
I know. Some really famous pastor that is amazing. I don't know. Maybe he's not famous, but he has a famous face, is what I heard.
Oh, brother. Oh, we're going 3 levels deep
I'm
of
just being
goofy
silly.
stories.
I'm just being silly.
I had a guy
But-
this week stop
No, you
me.
told that last week.
Oh, yeah,
On
famous face.
Didn't you?
I
It's
don't
that you have a
remember.
famous face. But this really smart pastor I know said that sometimes as Christians it's good to embarrass ourselves.
Sometimes it's good to embarrass yourself. And so go ahead. You
In
do it.
2020, we began the Tug of More.
Yeah, that's true.
And we were so excited about it. And we thought all our friends, and by friends we meant
Other pastors.
that we don't really know that well, but we thought they would think we were cool, would love it if we sent them these, what are they called? PR boxes?
Yeah.
Which people do this all the time. It's not like we were just doing what we've seen done. And so we ordered these red boxes.
Big cardboard red boxes.
Huge Tug of More. You had knives made for you.
Yeah, custom knives.
Custom knives. And I had
Lipstick.
a pen that was in
Oh.
the shape of a lipstick.
And then we bought tug of war ropes and cut them and coiled them into
and
the
then
thing.
red, like tissue-y, the shreddy
and
bit
like
paper.
and we put a card in
and a
there written
card,
and signed by us about
all
the Tug
like,
of War.
here's the mission of the Tug of More. Here's what our goal is. We hope you'll like and subscribe and follow us and
Maybe
be our
even a
buddies.
t-shirt. We might have sent a t-shirt
We might
out.
have, because we did we did, I think.
We
Golly.
put all this work and all this money into
we
these
sent
PR
them out
boxes.
to all these people.
Nobody shared it.
Nobody cared.
Maybe one person like took a picture with it.
Probably Trammell.
Probably, yeah.
Trammell. Only
Like,
Trammell.
And we were like, man, we tried so hard and it didn't work.
No.
But then now
We have
we're
our
doing
real people.
we have our straight tug team.
Our actual Tug of More team, and we are just tomming around town. And they're probably going to be like, well, why don't I get a PR box? Instead, you get this beautiful hat that we've been giving away. And we're super excited about it because, yeah, y'all are tomming around town everywhere.
Yeah. And so
On airplanes,
Yeah.
in backyards, in cars while
In
they're at
gyms.
the gym, everywhere.
folding
people-
laundry.
Come on.
Y'all tomming around town. And so this week we got a submission for
We got a great submission.
and here's how it came. You've got mail.
Yes!
But not really. Not an email.
No.
Ready?
Carrier pigeon mail.
Snail mail.
Snail mail.
It arrived to us in
Postal service.
It arrived to us in an envelope, and here's the note written with it. It says, listening to the Tug of More while working in the garden. This is Debbie Sheldon. And she said, I didn't know how to submit this online, but Dave can email it to you if you need. And so here's Debbie in the garden, working, listening to the Tug of More.
So she printed it out and she signed the paper. It's so cute. She's such a cute gardener. Listen, Debbie be amazing.
They're both amazing.
Well, yes, they're both amazing. But
Yeah.
but she's a great cook. She brought us a dinner when McKinley got injured, and she had every piece labeled, and then she's so nice. You know she's a grandma because
Yeah.
she had like a game for McKinley in every little. She printed
nice.
out a picture and made a puzzle for her. Then with each meal, she had like a question answer thing. She was so clever and cute. And so
Well, her husband Dave is the best.
Yes.
He volunteers once a week.
Yes.
To come up, and we have this little like Zamboni machine. It's like a
it's
floor
a baby.
cleaner.
It's a baby bony.
Yeah.
Well, wait, that's not right. Got it. Dang it. Dang it.
We're keeping it in. We're keeping it in. This is what Whitney
Dang
does.
it. A baby Zamboni.
No, we're keeping it in. 100%. We're keeping it in. This is my life.
Now you're gonna embarrass me.
Aaron, teach her. We broke the camera. We broke the camera.
Did I break it?
No, it just moved.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
So he comes and
Now my face is red.
Dave is a great man of God.
He is a
and
wonderful
he comes
man.
and rides the Zamboni machine to
Yes.
clean the floors, and he volunteers. And you know what he says to me the other day? He said, "Pastor, thank you for making a place for me to come and serve."
Oh, I love him.
And I'm like, "No, thank you for coming and serving." And then we got into like a little theology. He loves like the Genesis and the creation thing. He starts talking to me, and I came in here to Enrique and I said, "You know, we have a genius out here mopping the
Mopping
floor.
the floor.
This dude is smart."
Theological genius.
And so, love you guys.
Yes.
Thank you for being on the Tug team, and we're thrilled that you're tomming around town.
That's right. Good job, guys.
Yeah, good job.
Okay, move it. Next thing we're going to talk about is what?
Well, are you ruined now? You've
Yeah, I'm
embarrassed
flustered.
yourself.
No, I'm fine.
Okay, there's a couple things coming up.
Camp
One
is
is
coming up.
camp is right around the corner, and we are officially full.
It's incredible. Let's just talk about it. 2 years ago
Okay.
was our very first.
This is our third year.
This will be our third, so like 2 years ago, but third camp. It was our very first time to do our own camp.
Yeah.
So you and I's whole lives, we've gone to the same, not the same camp, but the same organization camp, the
Yeah.
same denomination, and we would send our team there, and they would all go. And so like we were like, no, it's time to do our own. So our kids and youth go together, and the fact that in 3 years we have over 200
Yeah.
kids going, it's amazing.
only our church.
It's only our church.
It's not us inviting.
no,
I mean, if we
right.
tried to, we could have 1,000. If
We've
we
had other
recruited
people
other
reach out
churches.
about doing that, but not yet. We're not
Yeah.
ready for that yet. But
Well, I think it changes it.
It just
if we
changes
start
dynamic.
inviting other groups, it's not that we're against them. It's
no,
just
no.
like we're trying to cultivate a culture for our students to really hear from God.
which is the reason why we did it. We
Yeah.
wanted to be able to be in control of the theology, the culture. What's the word you say?
Yeah.
The culture and the theology and
yeah,
the
chemistry or the
Yep.
we did a whole episode on it.
Yeah.
Culture and
Theology
no,
and
what's it called when you are connected to each other?
cohesiveness.
No, chemistry and
Community. I don't know. Dang it. What is it? No, chemistry is right. Culture and
oh
chemistry.
yeah, chemistry.
We're
Did we already
saying
say
the word and we
chemistry?
just aren't recognizing we're saying the word.
Guys-
Culture and chemistry.
Guys, we're having a problem.
We
Today.
had a little much caffeine.
Just watch another episode. just
That's ridiculous.
hang up on this one.
No, don't tell them
It's
that.
about to get really good.
It is. Don't say that. Yes. No. So culture and chemistry and the unity of like we believe that our house is built on sons and daughters, and we really take the time. Our whole staff team goes. Like it's not like he's gonna sneeze.
Do we need to start over?
No, it's funny.
I gotta sneeze.
Are you gonna sneeze?
I don't know. What is happening?
I don't know.
It's a horrible intro so far. We're 7 minutes in. What are we even doing?
Okay, camp, culture, chemistry. What's your favorite thing about camp?
Well, I mean, other than all the spiritual stuff, the crazy games.
Yeah, the games are good.
Me and Aaron have these little mini motorcycles that we ride around all week.
Yes.
I heard the staff teasing us last week.
Oh, you did?
I was in my office. Tim's
What
out there
were they?
talking smack.
Oh
Jealous. It's okay.
no, they're just
They're just jealous.
Do you remember the first year we took all of our bikes and we thought we were
Oh.
going to be so cute?
The place is hilly as a
There's
mug.
so many hills. I tried to ride it one time to one place,
And
and,
it's
I was
easier
like,
to walk.
Never mind.
It's easier to walk. It's so steep.
ridiculous. We were dumb. We didn't know.
So camp's coming, so be
That's
praying
right.
for us.
Yes.
It's a giant financial investment.
Giant financial, emotional, spiritual.
It is
mental,
not a break-even event.
team. Like our whole entire team goes. It's
Yeah.
not like anybody. So like the church is closed. Like offices are closed that week because everybody's at camp, and it's really my favorite thing that we do.
We
But
probably
it's a-
need to give the church phone to one of the elders while we're all
Oh,
gone.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
Instead of us. Yeah, we usually
So
take it with us.
elders, who wants it?
Yeah, somebody let us know. Yeah, but yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, what else?
Then I'm about to go on vacation, and
Yeah, same.
Aaron and Whitney are about to go on
Yeah,
vacation.
not to the same place, but
No.
I'm excited that we're going because we're learning to rest from our mentality of tired.
Yes.
If you missed that episode, go back. It was
yeah.
one before.
Where are y'all going?
We're going to Hawaii. We're going to
You bought one
the
of those
big island.
They bought one of those
Yeah.
deals.
Yeah, one of those timeshares. We have been practicing our no, and we are going to go to.
But if you do a timeshare, like a presentation, or you get a deal in the airport
Yeah.
lobby, or you buy something at Costco, sometimes you can get a great vacation for not $1 million bucks.
Very affordable.
Yeah.
And now that we have a bigger family, like it has 2 bedrooms, so it's like a bigger space. So that's nice. It's where Mele, our own Mele, is from. And so she told me today, Pastor, don't worry, because I've been bugging her for like 3 months. I need a list. I need a list. I need a list. Like I can get what is it? Chat GPT. I can get them to give me a list
You
or
better
AI.
not. It's Antichrist. You better not.
Yeah, exactly. I could get some. I can go on Instagram. I've been looking at reels and all the things, but there's nothing better than getting a list from a local.
Yeah.
Because you and I know right now where we're going to tell somebody to go to barbecue if they come to Texas.
Ooh, I got
we know
you.
exactly where we're taking them. It's the same thing. So Mela's making me a list. We're going to go. I'm excited, and I will update the information about it. What else?
There's these Bible stories that Titus and Lillian listen to every night.
yes.
I've listened to them since I was a kid. They're called Adventures in Odyssey. And
I
so
listened
they're
to 'em when I was a
put
kid.
out by Focus
Yeah.
on the Family. And so I listen to them on cassette tapes.
Yep.
And now my kids still listen to them, not on cassette tapes, on the internet. But look,
MP3.
MP3. I don't know what they. Every night, I'm telling you, every night they're going to bed listening to these stories. And so the whole story like world is themed around this place called Wits End. There's a guy in the thing, Mr. Whitaker.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so Focus on the Family is a Christian organization, and they built a real replica Wits End. And so Titus is willing to go for years.
So fun.
And it's in Colorado Springs.
Yes.
And so I'm like, we better go before the dude's too old and thinks it's
Right,
dorky,
right.
you know? And so it's kind of a funny thing to surround your family vacation around, but that's kind of our
No, I was
main
gonna
destination.
say,
And then
hey.
we had some families bless us with a cabin to stay
Yeah.
in. And so we're going to go and do that and then go see the place and then do a couple hikes and things.
It'll be
so
super great.
we're pumped about it.
If you let your kids be church nerds when they're young, they'll just stay church nerds. Like that's
and hey,
the thing
church
about
nerd is much better than a hoe.
I don't mean it derogatory. That's what we say about our family. Like our kids, every time when I grew up a kid in ministry, and when we went on vacation, we did not go to church because it was like this is our break from church because church is our job.
Yeah.
But our whole life, our
Yeah.
kids are like, where are we going to church when we go on vacation?
'Cause why would
they're
we not
church
go and
nerds.
see something?
Right. They want to
Yeah.
go learn from it. They want to go see something new. They want to go explore it. And so like we've been to churches all over. Just when we went to Florida, we went to a different church just to visit it, check it out. So like,
Where does Citizens Church have their Hawaii location? Is it on your island?
no, it's in Maui.
Oh.
But that's lame because we went to Maui and didn't go there. But I didn't know then
You didn't
back
know.
then when we went to
We're
Maui.
debating which church to go to in Colorado.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple.
Yeah. There's
You know where my dad wants me to go?
oh yeah.
He wants me to go see Womack.
Yeah, but I think you should go to New Life Church. Is
And
what
you
I
want me to go
think.
see New Life, which is where Ted Haggard
Yeah,
used to be, the dude who was having sex with male prostitutes doing cocaine with them.
yeah. But
How about
thankfully-
that? But he's not the pastor anymore.
No,
How
God
they
is-
recover from that?
They did though.
They did.
They're killing it. So,
Which,
it's a
by the
great-
way, that was a crazy scandal.
that was crazy. Speaking of, we're not
Speaking
talking
of,
about scandals.
If you
but
don't know, you go just type in Ted Haggard scandal. Is there a crazier?
I don't know.
Bro.
That one's pretty bad.
That was-
But you sent me one this week I listened to that was from my own home state. That was pretty bad.
That one, we should not talk about that as we're talking about camp. But like
Oh
that
yeah,
one made my
that
skin
one was
crawl.
crazy. But
He's
it was a long
he's
time
a
ago.
kids pastor that was
Yeah.
just molesting kids.
Yeah, sad.
Tell him
So-
what I said at our kids camp meeting.
Oh, you said that we will beat you up in the woods, then we will get a shovel, knock you out, and wait for the police to come. We're not going to
Yeah.
bury you in the woods because we want you to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
I always say to our kids, once a year I go into our kids workers meeting and I tell them, I love all of you. I think all of you are great people. But if by the chance a pervert snuck through and is in this room and you touch one of these kids, I'm going to beat you till my knuckles are bloody
Yes.
and then call the police.
then call the
And I'll go to jail for 6 months. That's fine. But I'm going to beat you half to death.
That's
And
right.
I think that's my approach anyways, that
No.
if there's somebody creeping around, I'm just
Yeah.
real direct. You're going to have hell
You're
to
going to
pay.
have some problems.
You're going to have some problems.
We're going to all murder you, most likely, but also
Yeah.
not murder you because we need you to go to prison for a long time.
Yeah.
So that was
And I
not a-
start sweating just a little bit every time I start talking about it.
yeah, but our people, the thing about it is they are watchdogs because
Oh,
of it.
and they'll cover me. They'll lie.
Oh.
They'll say I didn't do it.
no, they'll be like,
Actually, we
they'll
might
be
need
like,
to
this
cut
guy
this."
fell down the stairs.
He fell down the stairs.
Hey, last week we talked about our friend Termel.
Okay.
And we sent it to him.
Yeah.
And he's
Did he
just
text us back?
yeah, he's so encouraging. He's like, I'm over here crying, like for real tears. You guys really have no clue what that means to me. I love you guys so much.
Hey.
He's just so encouraging, and so he is sometimes the best encouragers need to be encouraged.
Listen,
so encourage your
Trammell
friends.
is planting a church in Hurst,
That's right.
undefeated.
Yeah.
And so if you live in Hurst,
That's the name of the church.
Yeah, undefeated church. And if you live in Hurst or farther north and more churches too far, go there.
Yeah, Hurst, Euless, Bedford, all that area.
HEB. He's
HEB.
he's up in the HEB.
Not the grocery store, the area of DFW.
We have a new intern at More Church
Oh, yeah.
from
Nebraska.
Nebraska,
Lincoln. That's what
Lincoln,
you're trying to
Nebraska,
think of.
and he went to HEB and his mind was blown.
Oh yeah, he said he never seen a grocery store like that before.
He was like, "What is
And
this?"
He was here for 3 days, and all 3 days he ate Whataburger.
That's Tim's fault.
You think so?
Yeah, right. I mean, Tim's
Well,
like,
it's like Texas is known for Whataburger. Like
Yeah.
we don't. I mean, we know it and we care about it, but like if you're outside of Texas, it's like, oh, Texas. I guess I better have a Whataburger.
Whataburger's not in my top
No, not me either.
5.
10.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying for fast food. Are there
Yeah.
even 10 fast food? Not that I've been to.
Yeah, I guess I count places like Chipotle as fast food.
Now, I mean, you can. I'm saying burgers.
Oh yeah.
We know what I want to do.
What?
I want to start a burger review page.
Can we just make a segment of Tug of War where we eat burgers? You and I already know the best burger, and we got to go to it the other day.
Oof, yeah, it was good.
It was good. We had a meat because it's only an evening burger,
It's even they don't open until 4.
and so we got to go there and get one the other day
The
because we had a
the
night.
keg burger, but I put it in my macros. and it
Yeah,
was
he
on
told me the
thing.
next day how much calories we ate, and I was like,
Just
"Don't
the
tell me
burger,
that."
because it's a burger with brisket,
brisket burger.
and bacon and like high end cheese and all the things. It was like 1,300 calories just for the burger.
But
So that it's worth it.
It's worth
but
it.
that's essentially the only thing you can eat all day.
once every 6 months or so. Okay.
All right. Sunday we jumped back into our
Characters.
and so we looked at Jacob and Esau.
Great story.
And I wanted to get a lot farther in the story. I only got a little bit along in the ways in the story of Jacob, but then felt kind of arrested and like, don't go any farther.
Yeah.
Just stop here at the beginning of the story.
It's been really interesting to go through so far these characters because some of the ones we thought we would want to do multiple weeks on, we just end up doing one. And then
Yeah.
some of the ones we thought we would do 1 week.
Blow through it.
It's ended up being multiple weeks, but it was so great. You talked about the story of Jacob and Esau, where Esau trades his birthright for a bowl of stew from Jacob.
Yeah.
And you talked about not trading in
Yeah.
for a $12 bowl of stew.
Don't trade your
$8.
destiny for momentary satisfaction.
And it was incredibly great. And I'm glad that you parked there and didn't go anywhere else. Then you
Yeah.
talked about the discipline that it takes in order to not do that, not continue to go back to the same bowl or trade back in for the bowl or all the things. And it really was arresting to a lot of people because they realized they were convicted. Yeah, some on sin issues of like they're trading in their destiny for a sin issue that is like an $8 bowl of stew. But a lot of people also talked about the internal struggles of like insecurity and offense and anxiety and different things that they keep going back to old patterns and habits and just things that maybe on the surface don't look like they're stealing your destiny, but absolutely are.
Yeah.
And it was really good. And so, yeah, what next? Do you want to say about
So
it?
we talked about it a little bit today with our staff team.
Yes.
Like what was the bowl that you find yourself running
Mm-hmm.
to, that you're consuming this and it's really stealing your destiny because you're focused on the wrong thing.
Anytime
and,
we do that, it's so good.
And I love the insight from our staff. Our staff is full of people of wisdom.
Yep.
And they're so
Deep
much
thinkers.
they're so much farther along than I was at their age or even in their season of Christianity.
Yeah.
Because like the number of our people on our staff have been saved kind of a short amount of time
Yeah.
compared to their age.
Right.
But yet they're spiritually have been matured leaps and bounds
Mm-hmm.
from a lot of people that I know. And so it's always good to hear their perspectives.
Yeah, it was really good. It ended up being a long conversation. And in it, we had a couple of different ideas that popped up, but there was some that we thought, hey, look, we ought to drill down on just
Yeah.
because it was not just what we heard on on Tuesday from our team, but it was some stuff that we heard in the lobby on Sunday, even from people after the fact.
Yeah. And so as we're talking it over with the team,
Yeah.
there was just like a couple comments and things
Yeah.
that people made or questions that really we talked about a little bit in the message that we thought we should
Yeah.
focus on a little
Yeah.
bit more. And one of those ideas was this internal fear that they're behind.
Yeah.
This question, this doubt in themselves that they're behind from where they're supposed to be. And
You mentioned it like about yourself. You said like in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s, each of those moments you had times where you felt like you were behind.
Yeah, in my 20s, I was the whole time, all of my 20s, and even into some of my 30s, I was the number two.
Right.
I was working under another pastor in a youth ministry.
Yeah.
And so I had all of my friends were the guy.
Yeah.
And I was the second guy at
Right.
where I was. And everybody was asking me, like, when are you going to do your own thing? When are you going to go and get your ministry? And I was like, dude, I am in ministry.
Right.
Like, this is what God's called me to do. I'm fully obedient
Yeah.
to where God has me. And like,
But it can start
in that
to make you.
in that number two position, I was leading a bigger thing
Yeah.
than any of my peers, but yet I wasn't like the guy. And
Right.
so it made me feel very much like I had missed some steps that they had learned.
Yeah.
And it created insecurity in me.
And like in our conversation today with the team, there was like sometimes it's just one moment in your life
Mm-hmm.
that you get behind and you feel like you're catching up forever. And it's just a funny trick of the enemy to make you feel like you're behind when really you're right where God wants you to be.
Yeah.
And I think that was the piece of like recognition for a lot of them was like, oh, I can trade my control over the situation, my plan, my thoughts of where my life should be for my destiny of the bowl of like for the bowl of instead of where for God wants me to be, where he has me. And like but it took us into like a whole conversation about comparison and
Yeah.
how the only reason we feel behind is because we're trying to compare to somebody else around us. We're trying to compare to somebody else who's maybe the same age as us, maybe what you said, someone who's in the same type of ministry or job or life that we're in, maybe because of some struggles or difficulties we've gone through that we don't see somebody else had to go through. And I think it's a really common occurrence for us in life in certain areas to feel behind.
Yeah.
I think as a woman, man, there's such a stigma around being a wife and a mom that you can feel behind of your,
Oh,
whether
okay.
you like, for me, I started young with kids. And so then it felt behind because I didn't start a career and then pause a career and then restart a career. I just like kind of
Got married, had a baby.
and
Quickly,
like
yeah.
stumbled through it all. So I felt behind for a long time because I'm the youngest one. I'm the younger one. I'm the less experienced
you're at PTA
one.
moms and they're all 10 years older.
Yes,
Yeah.
all the things. Whereas like for Rach, I know she had y'all had been married 5 years before you guys had kids, but you
Yeah.
guys were also a little bit older than
Before we
like
got married,
before
yeah.
you got married. And so for her, it was like she'd had this long, beautiful career in teaching, and then she like paused it for a season to be home with her babies, which is what she was supposed to do. But it could
But in that pausing-
started to feel like,
Yeah.
oh, I stopped running the race that God planned for me. No, you just changed lanes because you have something new that you're doing. But it can make us feel behind. It can make us feel, and I think as we kept talking with the team, it was like, oh, this is a thing people feel in all kind of places.
Mm-hmm.
And I think especially if you are a personality that's tugging into more, it's easy to see where you are and where you want to be
Yeah.
and just feel behind.
We can feel behind because that's really good. I'm glad you brought like the personal perspective,
Yeah.
not just the professional perspective of
Yeah.
like being a mom and all the
Right.
things. I think that we feel behind for two things that we're looking forward to.
Right.
We're either looking forward to the future us, like what we feel called to do and
Right.
the vision and the big
plan, the
big dream that
purpose,
God
right.
has called you to, and comparison to someone else that we feel is already up there. And like both of those are things we have to learn how to navigate. Because in my mind's eye, I know who Trustin is supposed to become, both like as a man and as a minister.
Right.
Right. Like I know, I feel as if I know the potential that God has put in me and the calling that he's given me. And it feels like, dude, a mile up the road
Right,
still.
right.
And I'm like, oh, like,
Right.
so that's hard because I feel behind who I'm supposed to be. But then I also, it's easy to compare yourself to other people that are doing the same thing as
Right.
you. And then you feel behind because you're not where they are. I think I've told the story before, but I'll keep telling it forever because it was such a big deal to me. Years ago, I went to a conference at Fellowship Church. They call it C3 Conference. And I'm sitting next to a pastor who I later found out was kind of like a manipulator.
Yeah.
Not kind of.
Is.
He's a manipulative personality.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there, and Stephen Furtick is going to preach at the conference. Now, I had like heard Stephen Furtick, but I was not a Furtick fanboy.
Yeah.
I've listened
and this is years ago. So it's
this
like
years ago.
when he's kind of newly known.
And so he's coming out to preach on like the conference stage of like charismatic pastors.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so he comes out at the top, and they introduce him. And Ed Young, the pastor of the church, he says, "So Stephen, how old are you now?" And he says, "I'm 33. And this guy that I'm sitting next to, he leans over and he goes, "How old are you?" And I go, "Oh, I'm 30. And he says, "Better hurry up."
Yeah.
And I remember being like washed with insecurity because I'm like, dude, first I work for you, so I'm still not even the guy. And then like, this guy's preaching at this conference and has like 10,000 people in his church. And I'm like crapping my pants
Right.
to preach in front of 200 teenagers.
Right.
You know, like,
Right.
and I just was sit there washed with insecurity. You know what it did a little bit is it made me not even like Stephen Furtick. It wasn't even
Right.
Furtick's fault.
Right.
I was just like so grossed out with it. And I remember sitting there the whole message just like, dude, I'm so far behind. Like, because I knew in me, I'm
Right.
called to something great.
Right.
I knew in me, I'm listening to this message and I'm like, I have deeper thoughts than even where he's going right now. I've preached the same verse and I know like what's in me. And it started something ugly in me, but it's because I didn't realize the venom on my shoulder.
Right. Because that guy's over 10 years older than you. So if
Yeah.
anybody is behind, oh, wait, that's why he spoke it, because he
Correct.
felt behind.
But-
he spoke it because of his own insecurity of
Right.
feeling behind. And then he's trying to plant the same insecurity in you
Right.
so that, who knows what, so that you'll feel small and then he'll feel bigger around you. It's absurd. The truth of the matter is you're not called to be Stephen Furtick.
At all.
You're called to be you.
Right.
And there's already one Stephen Furtick. We don't need three more because God already made one. We
Right.
need to know that he created us in his image, but all uniquely on purpose, for purpose. And I think that's the part that the comparison thing it robs everything.
Yeah.
It robs God's intentional design for each of us to be unique and then to add to the equation of life our very own chemistry spice of who we are rather than trying to be the same. If we were the same, it would be lame. But yet it robs us and makes us feel behind when we try to compare because you don't know what Stephen deals with at home. You don't know
No.
what he deals with in his doctor's appointments. You don't know what he deals with
Yeah.
in his staff meetings. We don't know all the details of anyone's life, but yet it's easy to look at somebody's highlight reel and go, man, I'm behind.
I wish I had that.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you probably don't.
don't.
There was a pastor that I admired from afar. Like, really was like, man, this guy is doing great things. And so I had an opportunity to go and have a lunch with him and went to his church and met him and talked with him for a little bit and then started kind of opening up my heart about some stuff that I was navigating in leadership and
Yeah.
struggling with. And I quickly in our conversation realized how much farther along in health I was than him. Emotional health, marital
yeah.
health. And my capacity to be transparent and vulnerable. And I'm looking at this guy that on the stage,
Yeah.
top-notch, polished,
Right.
killer. But then in person, no, I wouldn't trade
Right.
my marriage for yours. I
Right.
wouldn't trade my internal peace, how I love myself. I wouldn't trade my relationship with God.
Yeah.
And so I've had a handful of those like really close
Yeah.
encounters that have given me perspective of I shouldn't be in competition with this person.
Right. And so I think that's a question to ask. Do you feel behind because you're comparing?
Well, so that's what I want to get to. Comparing to the future you or comparing to somebody else.
Yeah.
And how do you treat both of those?
Well, I think, the comparing to other people piece is the one that's like, you just have to stop.
Well, you have to stop watching.
Yes, you may. I mean, that may be the only way
Yeah.
for a lot of people to be able to just stop allowing that in your life. Stop paying attention to it. Stop if it is robbing you from being able to see where God has you and place you, then yeah, you have to like actually put it away and don't look at it anymore.
Yeah.
Like unless if you're able, some people maybe are able to just go, you know what? That's them. This is me. Because I think some of that I'm thinking for people you're close to, it's better to figure out how to. Rachel and I had to work very hard to not compare to each other. We are not the same person. We're not called to be the same
each other.
person. Yeah. And the hardest thing about women in ministry, women in leadership, women tugging into more can be other women doing the same thing. And the enemy's really good at wanting us to pit each other against each other rather than to unify and come together. And so we had to make a decision a long time ago, like, hey, I'm going to cheer for you rather than compare myself against you. And if you can flip that script, it is the most freeing, most powerful, it has built the culture of this house that we now cheer everybody on rather than compare with each other, because our staff team is full of genius people who are way
Right.
smarter than you and I and talented than you and I in a numerous amount of things.
Right.
But rather than getting intimidated as you were treated,
Yeah.
someone that's sitting and whispering venom in your ear is doing that because they're intimidated and insecure about
Yeah.
who you could become.
Right.
And so rather than being your cheerleader and champion, they started comparing and got
Yeah.
insecure. And I'm like, we can't do that.
No,
That's crazy. And so like, if there's someone close to you, you got to fight through that mess and have a real conversation of like, I remember years ago, Rachel and I talking, and like, it's kind of where we came to this, like, what is the word you always say? Lexicon of like running our race and the lanes that we're running in, and talking about, hey, you are running equally as hard. You're just running in a different lane, and
Yeah.
I'm running in this lane, and they're different. They're different races, but they're complementary of each other. And we're both running them as hard and as well as we can. And
Yeah.
so if I'll cheer for you and you'll cheer for me, then we'll both complete the race that God's called us to, rather than getting tripped up.
Or be insecure around the other person.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is silly.
Yeah. I have so many stories of comparison to me comparing myself to other people and how it made me feel behind.
Yeah.
We all have a different place that we begin at.
Absolutely. That's
And
the
so,
thing
like-
about a race. That analogy breaks down because it's
Right.
not a gunshot start.
Exactly.
We all start different. We all have a different.
There are people that just get to start 3 laps ahead of you
Yeah.
in like money or growth or notoriety or whatever.
Opportunity
just because
or-
of who their dad was.
Right.
Or because of like what they got to go and take over. Like now that I'm in my early 40s,
Yeah.
I could easily go and take over a already built legacy church.
Right. Right.
A legacy church just means one that's been around for 100 years
Yeah.
and has a 7-year-old pastor that's looking to retire and has 4,000 people. And like a church like that would love to have a guy like me to come in and be their lead pastor. And then now what? Now I'm pastoring a mega church.
Right.
And it feels like I'm much farther ahead. But that's not what I'm called to do. And so I can't look at my contemporaries and think that, oh, that means they're a better leader. No, that's their race.
Right.
They said yes to go and do that. It has its challenges.
I was going to say,
I said yes to stay faithful at the place that God's planted me. And though it's slower to grow, it will someday be a legacy church.
yeah. Well, and the hills, the hurdles, the different pieces of the race, we only see them up ahead in the, like, you only see the people up ahead of you or up where they are. You don't see each race,
In
each piece of
process.
it as it's going. And I think that's the part that's like, yeah, it's easy to look at. Even my own kids that are here and a part of doing ministry here, like it's easy for somebody to be like, well, yeah, because their mom's there and da-da-da, but they don't know the stories of the pain that they've walked through. They don't know the times they've had to sit through really hard seasons, not just moments, but seasons. The times they've been hurt and mistreated, or the times they've had to be called on the carpet and handled the way that a regularly 30-something-year-old person would be handled when they were 17. Like there's a cost to every race.
Yeah.
There's a hurdle to every race. And so it's easy to look at somebody where they're at and go, but you only see one piece of it. We know so many people who carry personal hurdles, personal medical issues, or struggles with their own kids, or that I'm like, when I look at their life, I'm like, yeah, this part of it looks fancy and shiny on the internet, but I know deeply what they're carrying. And
Yeah.
I'm not trading my story for theirs.
Yeah.
But yet comparison just wants us to only see their highlight and look at our behind the scenes and then be like, God, I'm a loser. I suck.
What is the healthy way to have someone that you look toward to in the future, but it's not comparison?
I think it's just, I think it's just admiration and
Okay.
respect.
That's a good-
mutual respect
Yeah.
of like, because it's not bad. We have a couple of mentor pastors that we love,
Yeah.
and they have humble hearts. They're always kind and generous to us when we speak to them. But then also, I think because they're different than us, it's been really easy for us to, in our more immature seasons when we weren't yet fully mature in understanding it, it was easier to not compare because we don't look exactly the same. So we were able to, does that make sense?
Yeah.
We were able to be like, hey, I want to be successful like they are, but they don't look exactly like me, or they don't flesh it out the way I do. And so it's not as easy to compare because we're different, obviously.
Yeah.
But when somebody is similar to you, you've got to take that same approach of the admiration
Yeah.
of like, man, I'd love to learn from them what they did.
No, it's a great delineation, because like Jensen Franklin is a pastor
Yeah.
that I have great admiration for. But yet in my because I got to meet him, I have never positioned him in this place that I'm comparing myself to,
Right.
which means I'm not insecure.
Right.
But I got invited to go to a private filming that Jensen was doing of a podcast. And then from that got invited to his house and ate dinner with him, went and sat next to him in a movie theater and watched a movie with him. And he was the chillest dude,
Yeah.
the most down to earth, real, humble, fun guy. His church is gigantic. His budget is $1 bajillion.
Right.
But he was just the most genuine, loving guy. He stood in his lobby, greeted everybody. And I'm like, but I was healing too from
Yeah,
a
for
bunch
sure.
of stuff. This is what,
For
4
sure.
years ago or
It's been a
something?
minute, yeah.
But yeah, admiration is the thing. And
Yeah.
so I think that if you find yourself comparing yourself to everybody, then that's a broken piece in you.
Absolutely.
And there's still got to be guys that you, or girls that you look at as a milestone of a direction,
For sure.
a goal, but you're not insecure because you're trying to become more like
I
them.
think if you are new on the journey, finding someone that you can admire, and I think also Jensen is so much further, even in age.
Yeah, he's
in
65.
life story, that
Yeah.
it was easier in that healing journey for you to go, okay, I'm not 5 years behind this guy.
Yeah.
It's going to take me a lifetime to catch up.
Right.
Whereas someone who's maybe 5 years ahead, you might feel in that season a little more intimidated by it. And it's like, okay, start there. Start
Yeah.
with the Jensen, but learn it
Yeah.
so that you can transfer it, because that 5 year ahead of you person is actually probably a gift that God's given you.
Right.
But if you can't see them right, then you're never going to be able to see them and learn. And maybe you're going to miss out on something God's trying to teach you because he doesn't necessarily, you're not behind.
Yeah.
He just has got this guy that he would love for you to learn from.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I don't know. I think that is the piece. And then the empathy list is just real.
Wow, I forgot all about that.
If you can build a real
Uh-huh.
empathy list of understanding that everyone is a human, like that silly book that you teach your kids when they're potty trained, everybody poops.
Yeah.
Everybody's the same, that we're all people and we all deal with crap and we all have pain and heartache. Because I remember another pastor that you would meet with and that you had this massive
Leadership crush on?
yeah, but then you saw some humanness and brokenness of pain that they walked through,
Uh-huh.
and it gave you this empathy of oh, they're just human too.
Yeah.
And it's we look at
They
people,
didn't treat me bad. They're just hurting.
yeah, they're just hurting. They're
Yeah.
just having a hard time. And I think, I don't know. I think that again, comparison steals. And when I look at comparison as a tool of the enemy, then it makes it really easy for me to just be like, I reject you.
Yeah.
I will not let you come in.
What's the quote? Is it Mark Twain? He says, comparison is the death of all joy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
the
that
theme
we,
of it,
when
yeah.
we compare ourselves, then it's
Yeah.
stealing all of our joy. Okay, but what about feeling behind because you're looking towards the future you?
Yeah.
And no, because what we do, I think, is we get disappointed in our own selves.
Yeah.
Like, dang it, I should be better than this. I should be more disciplined than
Right.
this. I should have my crap more together. And so then we beat up ourselves today because the tug of more.
Right.
Because we know that we should be somewhere farther. How do you manage that to not I mean, some of feeling behind should be a motivator
Sure.
to like deal with your junk and to become a little bit more disciplined.
Yeah.
But we can beat
But I don't know
ourselves
if I
up
would
so much
call
when
it-
it's shameful.
I was gonna say I don't know if I would call it behind,
Okay.
or if just not complete. Like that's the difference, because behind makes you feel like you can never catch up.
You're disadvantaged.
But if it's just I'm still running the race,
Yeah.
set out before me,
Yeah.
like then I'm just gonna keep running forever. Oh, I've got to remember that and recognize that, which has all kind of analogies. But I think the first one you said is like, how do you deal with it? One of them is, are my metrics even correct? And then the other one is recognizing how far you've already come. I think those are the two like most important pieces of not feeling behind, because what is behind?
What is behind? I growing up in ministry and in ministry training, they would always talk about nickels and noses. You've got to know the nickels and you've got to know the noses. How many people are coming and how many dollars are coming in. And so as a young lead pastor, that in an unspoken way was my
Yeah.
metric. How many butts are in seats was my metrics. And so that unhealthy metrics caused me to compare unhealthily.
Absolutely.
But when I got rid of those metrics and I started to look at culture and fruit and life change and sons and daughters,
Right.
I'm actually
Yeah.
nailing it.
Right.
Because you can fill a theater by putting pornography on the screen.
Right.
I'm saying like you can fill a room with anything that's attractional.
Right.
But to like really create change in someone's life
Yeah.
and their eternity is a different metrics than just get butts and
Well,
seats.
if you grew up with parents who, I've recognized this now working a ton with young adults. If you grew up with parents who always only ever owned a house and you're renting, you feel behind.
Yeah.
Now, this is like silly, but it's not. In the world we live in right now, the metrics have changed in the being able to home purchase and the real estate and the percentage rates and blah, 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 blah,
Income
blah.
and all these
things.
other bills, yeah.
And if I only ever always look at the metrics of my parents or those that raised me or those that I admired when I was young and say all of their metrics are still the same metrics for me, times change, situations change. My calling and purpose changes from what their calling and purpose was. And I think in our life, we can so twist, like for my kids, like one of my kids is already married and I got married young and they got married young. And so for my other kid, it's like, oh, am I behind? No, you just have a different calling, different life, different purpose.
Right.
No, we were actually too early.
Yeah.
But like, again, it's just a metric that who said was right? No one.
Yeah.
But we choose these metrics for ourselves. That again, who said behind? It's your own behind, like your own decision
Yeah.
that you think. And I think that the like, yeah, noses, it's really funny you said noses and nickels. I've been thinking about the year that we've made the most money in the church was the worst year for us emotionally, saddest, heaviest, hardest, most painful, most pruning, and so it's like, okay, I guess. But that year I felt the most behind. You know what I mean? But it was, again, it wasn't behind. It was God reformulating some things and doing some things. And it's like, if I would judge the things based on those metrics, I'd be wrong every time.
Yeah. We all screw up, right?
For sure.
Like we've all made mistakes.
We're
somewhere.
human.
We're human. And one of the reasons I think we get behind, we feel like we're behind, is because we look at our big screw up or our big couple screw ups and we think, if I would have just not done that,
Just maybe.
then where would I be?
Right.
If I could just get in a time machine and go backwards and make a better choice, then I would be totally somewhere else. And like, I feel that. But the great thing about the Bible is that it's full of stories of actual people that made bad decisions but ended up in the right location.
Yep. Right.
And so like, okay, cool. I know you were an idiot in your 20s. Or I know that you like strayed away from God.
Right.
Or I know that addiction stole something in your life. And what we do then is we live a life feeling behind because of wasted years. But we've got to remember that God works outside the confines of time.
Right.
And like, he can catch you up. The Israelites were in the wilderness, or the Israelites were in captivity for 400 years.
Right.
And had no money.
Right.
And the Bible says in one day after the 12 plagues, 12 plagues.
Yeah.
After the 12 plagues, that Egypt heaped gold on
Right.
them, begging them to leave
Get
the
out
land.
of here. Right.
And they now go from no money and slave
Broke
clothes
slaves. Yeah.
to so much gold that they make a golden calf statue
Right.
in the wilderness. Like, they go to immense wealth. You know why? Because God works outside the confines of time.
Right. But also we do this woulda, shoulda, coulda thing.
Yeah.
It was like one of the first things my counselor had to beat up in me years ago when I first started therapy. But it's this idea. Yesterday I was meeting with someone and they kept talking about what they should have done and how they should be and what their life should look like. And I was like, hold on a minute. You just told me all of this about your family history and everything you went through and everything that was done wrong to you and how you were mistreated. Actually, what you should be is this. A whole bunch of negative stuff. And you've not given yourself credit for how far you've actually come based in where you started.
Yeah.
And I think that like what you're saying, that God works outside the confines of time, but also he's doing something in us. And we're really good at looking at the right now and not looking back at how far he's brought us and
Yeah.
how much we've actually accomplished. And it's like, if you would take more stock in that, you wouldn't feel so behind because you've actually made up so much ground that you're actually doing a pretty darn good job.
Yeah.
Like, I read this thing, so I went and found it today that I saw. It's from a school teacher, and like, she's cute. And the fact that she's teaching her students this is amazing. But it says, if you fail, never give up, because fail actually means first attempt in learning.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes. How many times do I feel like Mike said this phrase that we'll coin for 150 years, first time humans.
Yeah.
How many times do we fail and then let that failure be our identity rather than recognizing I just learned 7 years worth of wisdom in one failure
Yeah.
that actually propelled me forward.
Right.
Because I'm just a first time human. It's just a first thing I like. All of what we went through in 2022 that was so painful actually propelled us to be people that today can stand firm
And not
in
look
the
at
face
nickels
of
and noses.
adversity. And yes, that has taken other people 50 years of their life
Yeah.
to barely scratch the surface.
Yeah.
And like, wait a minute. No, just kidding. God's taking us forward. And so again, what are our metrics? And then why are we, I don't know, why are we getting so stuck in?
Because we feel behind.
Yeah.
Time after time in the Bible, God takes people into like crazy long seasons of being hidden. So like Moses
Yep.
grows up in the palace and it looks as if he's positioned to do something great.
Yeah.
But then he leaves for 40 years
Yeah.
to Midian
Right.
to be a shepherd.
Right.
Like that feels,
Like a waste of time.
dude, a waste of time.
Right.
I'm about to preach the story this week about Jacob, right? And how for 14 years he's working for his uncle Laban. And like, dude, that's a long time.
a long
like,
time.
7 years and then another 7 years. Like, really? But then like God, he just catches stuff up.
Yeah.
In a wrestling match,
Right.
he catches it up.
Elena said something so good today in our staff meeting.
Yeah.
Because she went through this long season of they didn't buy a house. They just bought a house like the last 2 years. They've gone through their whole marriage, renting different places, and she was so frustrated. God, why can't you just? And she said, I told him, God, if you would just tell me the date that it's happening, then I would not be so frustrated in the waiting. Just let me know the date, and then I'll calm down in the middle of it. But she said that God spoke to her and he said, if I tell you the date, then you will miss everything I'm trying to teach you between now and that date. And it's like, I want to argue with God and be like, no, I won't. I'll be more aware and available to hear from you because I won't be so stressed out.
Yeah.
And I won't, but it's like, no, then I won't be reliant on you. Then I won't have to be so dependent on you for the answer in the moment. I won't have to actually go to you to trust you in the
So
moment
good.
to get through. And it's like, we think if I just knew when I'm going to get there and how, then I wouldn't feel so far behind. And
Yeah.
he's like, no, because once you get there, you'll just feel behind to the next place that you
Yeah.
want to go.
Can we spur for a minute?
Sure.
Can we stir and spur? For
Absolutely.
a
That's
minute?
my favorite part.
So, okay, if you feel behind, pull that into perspective.
Absolutely.
Okay. But if there's a very practical thing that you do feel like you should make up time in,
Absolutely.
start.
Right.
Like somebody today in our staff said how they were like, I'm here and doing this, but I haven't even read through the whole Bible yet.
Yeah.
And so that's like a point of contention in them, insecurity in them.
Well, then go.
Well, then
Yeah.
start. Like you can read the Bible in a year,
Yeah.
or you can read the Bible in 3 years.
Right.
Or you can like go crazy and read the Bible in a month, but I don't think you'll retain very much.
Right.
But I'm like, set that goal. I shared a picture on Sunday about how I've lost 50
Right.
pounds over 5 years. And like, none of that was a dramatic 2 months. It was just a slow process. But after 5 years, I'm like, thank God.
Correct.
Thank God that I went through this long journey. And so I'm like, okay, if you're behind, then there's no better day than to start making up ground than right now.
Yeah.
Because the longer you wait, the more behind you get.
Absolutely. I think what you're saying is great in that, like, stop being a victim of behind and instead be a victor of like, hey, I'm going to
Run.
go. I'm going to go do this. Whatever this waiting season, whatever this behind piece is, whatever this lack space that I feel, I'm going to go do everything in my power to learn from what God has for me in this. And I'm going to start making progress. You talked about grace and growth in the message and how there's all the grace for like wherever you are in your season with Jesus. He has grace for you. That is the message of the gospel, is that Jesus is full of grace. But at a certain moment, we step into growth and we really have to be making progress into our growth. And so if you feel behind because you're just sitting still, well, then maybe there is some growth steps you need to take. And
Yeah.
maybe you ought to
Pick it up.
pick it up, move
Put
it,
something
do
down.
something. Right.
Pick something up.
Yeah. And if you're chasing whatever you're chasing, I think it's important to evaluate, is that a you dream or is that a God dream? Is that a you thing? Because if you're chasing something that's your vision, your dream, your goal, you're always going to be behind because that's not what he intended for you in the first place. But if you're chasing what God has for you, then you have to trust the process. As you're talking about all these different Bible characters, every piece of it prepared them for the next piece. Every piece of what they walked through guarded, guided, and protected them and prepared them for where they were going next. And if they would have missed one piece, then when they got to where they were going, they would have not been adequately equipped for the battle, for the whatever it was. And it's like, hey, if you are chasing a God dream, if you're really in step with what the Holy Spirit has for you, then chill out and just receive what he has for you today. You talked with the Israelites. The manna, the daily bread.
Wow.
Like, actually today, what can I receive? What can I learn?
It's really good. You know, the funny thing about what we do is sometimes you're talking and God starts speaking
Yeah,
to you.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
God just started speaking a little bit of stuff to me.
No, it's good.
That I'll tell you about
Yeah.
after. So help me remember
Yes.
that. But then I'll share a story and then we got to go. We've been 54 minutes.
Oh,
What are-
shoot. When we started talking, we were a little having struggles.
Yeah.
And then I said that silly thing. I thought, how are we going to get through an hour? of
Sometimes when you get behind, you need someone to come and help dig you out. I remember after we had Titus, the number of medical bills that they would mail us was like overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so before Rachel and I got married, she had a car that had gotten repoed because like
Yeah.
she didn't grow up learning finance stuff. She had a bunch of school debt. She had a bunch of credit card debt.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had Lillian and all of that debt. And then we had Titus and all of those bills coming in. And I didn't know what to do. I'm a youth pastor, church planner.
Right.
I literally, we don't have any money to even
Right.
live. And I remember we used to have this big wicker,
Yeah.
like a magazine,
yeah.
like what people would store magazines in next to their
Yeah,
couch
we had
back
one
in the
like
day.
that too, right?
And I just started throwing bills in it,
Yeah.
not even opening them.
Just like
And like
make a pile.
toll tags,
Yeah.
like all of this stuff. And my mom and dad were over one day. And I was so overwhelmed because medical bills are confusing.
Oh yeah.
Because like you open them and you don't know what you've paid. And like I was so overwhelmed and I'm behind.
Right.
And so I I broke down and cried to my mom and dad. I was like, I don't know what to do with this.
Right.
Like I feel not smart enough, not equipped enough to do it. And I remember my mom and dad, they went out in the garage and I had this big folding table. And they went and got this folding table and they set it up in our living room. And my dad went and got in the kitchen and he got kitchen knives. He gave all of us kitchen knives. And we started opening, hundreds of envelopes.
Yeah.
Opening all these envelopes, opening them. And he'd say, just put them on the table. Just put them on the table. And we would all open envelopes. My dad and my mom, they would get this thing and they would just put it in stacks.
Yeah.
This is
Organize it.
Lillian. This is medical. This is Rachel's debt. This is school. This is your house. This is your toll tag. This is your ticket you got in Michigan 7 years ago that you should have paid. Like literally so many.
There's not a warrant out for your arrest.
And they helped us
Yeah.
dig out.
Yeah.
They didn't give us $1,
Right.
but they gave us wisdom.
Right.
And they helped me have perspective on how to stop being behind. And I'm telling you, from like that moment,
Yeah.
within 3 years, Rachel was out of debt.
Yeah.
We paid off all her debt. We got it all figured out. We paid off all the school stuff. I started buying and selling cars. I started working to fix this thing. And I'm like, if I wouldn't have cried to them and said, I'm behind and I don't know how to get out
Right.
of this, who knows how big that envelope bin would be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I would be in jail. Or you know what I'm saying? Like there would be such a financial burden on us because
Absolutely.
by now debt accrues,
Right.
right? And so like friends, sometimes if you feel behind in something and you don't know how to get ahead, you have to choose to embarrass yourself.
Yeah.
You have to go and talk to somebody and be like, look at all these envelopes I haven't opened.
Right.
Except sometimes envelopes aren't envelopes. Sometimes I don't know how to clean my house.
Right.
I don't know how to lose 10 pounds.
Right.
I don't know how to quit yelling at my kids.
Right.
I don't know how to quit drinking alcohol. Sometimes you just have to go to somebody and like
Open the bills.
open the bills.
It's good. It's really good. Yeah.
And they're going to help you not be behind.
Yeah. Yeah. And surround yourself not only did they give you wisdom, but they gave you the encouragement
Yeah.
that you weren't so far behind as you thought.
But once it was in piles,
Right.
then my dad pulled out a little notebook and started writing down the total of the number and realized that like this stack of papers, this 100 papers is the same bill.
Right.
They just keep sending it to you because you're not paying it. And so you feel overwhelmed for something that's not really that bad. Tristan,
Right.
look, you only owe $7.
Right.
But because you're not calling them,
Yeah.
they've mailed you the same piece of paper 38 times.
Right.
And so I was overwhelmed for stuff that genuinely in 4 months we
Right.
paid off
Right.
so many
Different
bills
pieces.
under $30.
Yes.
Little things we paid off. Or then they were like, you need to call them and tell them that you'll give them $800 today
If they'll settle it.
if
yeah.
they'll settle it because you owe $3,200. But if you
Right.
tell them I got 8, and so like just that wisdom, and
great.
God speaking some stuff to me that like you've just got to open the mail
Yeah.
and be willing to sit with somebody and sort through their mail.
Yeah.
Like instead of just looking at somebody and go, they should get their crap together. Well, maybe you should give a Saturday to go and help them.
Right. No, it's good.
Maybe you should invite them along in the journey to get not behind.
Yeah. No, it's really good. I think that is the piece that the tension, the tug of war is to perpetually feel behind. But when you can recognize I'm on the journey
Yeah.
and I'm taking steps in the right direction, then you can feel wind in your sail to keep going.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to want to quit. And I think that's our heart for everyone is like, don't quit. Don't trade your destiny for $8 stew. Like, instead, recognize you're not as far behind as you think you are. He's still working on you, but also you've still got work to do.
Yeah.
And as you keep doing both together, he's going to get you there.
Yeah,
So,
dude.
Love y'all.
That's good, guys. We started a little rough.
You know what's funny
But we
is
got
if you
there.
went back to when maybe that's why nobody cared about our PR package. Because if you went back to the very beginning, our start was probably way rougher back in the 2020
But
days.
we thought it was polished.
But we thought it was good.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Tug of War.
We say the exact same sentences over and over
But
again.
we used to be honest, in the beginning, in our first studio, we had whiteboards, giant whiteboards
Yeah.
on each side of the wall. And we would write notes on the wall that y'all couldn't see. And then we would like look at each other and be like, hit the next
you
point.
got it.
And so like now that we watch it, we're like,
Oh, man.
this was not slick.
We thought we were slick. We've grown a lot.
But you know, we used to not say a conversation.
No, you're
It
right.
used to not be a conversation.
Yes.
It used to be
Podcast.
a teaching, a like, yeah.
I don't know what
now
it
it's,
was.
now it's
Yeah.
conversation.
That's all.
Where we just say baby bonies.
Zamboni, okay, I don't know. I was just trying to, because it's little. It's not your regular kind that you, guys, stop.
Getting worse.
You are
She's
making,
not-
I have
How-
such a good one on you that I will never tell, but you are making me so
Oh, yeah,
embarrassed.
you can't.
I can't tell it.
Well, it's too bad.
It was a Freudian, but still.
I said it to Enrique and Tim and Whitney, and I'm literally in the most like spiritual
Like,
telling of a thing, and they all start laughing, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh my, that's not what I meant. And it's so bad we can't say
we
it.
can't say it.
It's not a swear word.
No,
Mom.
it was mom.
All right.
All right. That's
Oh, hey, Tomming around town.
Tom around town.
Post them, tag us, let us see what's happening.
Love y'all.
See ya.